All right, everybody, welcome back in episode 72 of the ATD Baseball Podcast. Full group here. Everybody at it. Melo's live from Dodger Stadium. Um, love that. And we've got about 15 minutes, 10 minutes of Melo here before he's got to get back to work. Because, Dodger Stadium cracking the whip there, right, Melo?
Yeah, they have my balls in their hands right now. So um, the least I can do is be on my best behavior and report
Yeah.
back when they want me to.
Lord Shohei needs you back serving him
Yes,
immediately.
yes, and I will gladly do that.
Yeah, you heard it there first. Kyle, how are you doing today?
I'm doing pretty good. My Yankees are keeping me sane at the moment. Um, Matt, we just got to meet up. We did some pretty cool stuff over
Yes.
the weekend. That was nice, not too bad. No, I mean we're getting to the bulk of the baseball season here. Can't complain too much.
That's right. Beautiful weather out in Pennsylvania today. I gotta give him 70s, nice and sunny today.
Yeah,
After we had a terrible storm here last night. Terrible wind gusts. It was brutal. But yeah, getting into baseball season, obviously games count all the time, but we're settling in now. Starting to settle in the season, see who's for real. We got to talk about the AL West because they're off to a slow start this year. Padres and Dodgers had an interesting start to the season, that's for sure.
Who gives a shit?
Oh, so evidently, Jerks and Profar are still irrelevant to Melo and the rest of the Dodgers. I'm going to guess. Um, John Sterling is probably going to be retiring here. Some bittersweet news there for Kyle.
yeah. It was confirmed by the Yankees today that he is officially done, effective immediately. It's a sad day in New
Yeah,
York, I tell you.
it is. He's a legend. I mean, maybe he's not quite up there with Vin Scully, but he's like pretty close in terms of most popular, most well-known baseball announcers of all time. He's definitely up there. Um, Andrew McCutchen hit a nice milestone in his career, 300 career home runs, hit it against my Phillies, and part of a victory for the Pirates. So don't
Who?
love that for me. Yeah, I'm not a giant fan of him hitting it against my team, but I loved him while he was on my team, so I can't say too much. Love me some Kutch. And Spencer Strider out for the year. He's going to have Tommy John surgery. Sucks to hear. It's just another chapter in this whole story of pitcher injuries this season, and pitcher injuries to all these big stars this season, I should say. And we'll see. We'll talk about how that affects the Braves and maybe the whole NL East as a whole. But we're started off with the Padres and Dodgers. Get Melo's take in here quick before Dodgers put him back to work. But so you're saying it's no big deal, Melo?
I'm not saying it's not a big deal, but I mean, at the end of the day, it's the second week in April. The Padre fans probably threw a parade down San Diego last night, taking 2 out of 3 from the Dodgers. But um, very entertaining series. I'm not gonna lie to you. The Dodgers are 11-7 right now. I don't know what I was expecting, but I didn't. I thought they would be a slight bit better to start the season, which is I know it's crazy to say because we're only 2 weeks into this season, and but
I I
they've
don't think
given
you're
some
alone
games
with that
away.
though.
Yeah,
I've heard that
they've
take
given some games
other
away.
places.
Right, and they should have won Friday. They had a 7-3 lead. But here's the problem with that: their bullpen is not good right now, and they can't put teams away. It was 7-3 Friday night. Uh, Bullpen gave it up, and the Dodgers offense went completely ice cold after the third inning. They had 4 home runs, and then they didn't get anything after. Um, I thought we were going to be off to a better start here, but again, this is why I'm not going to panic because it's 162 games, and we've kind of gotten lucky that the Giants, the Padres, and the D-backs, they haven't gotten off to a hot start either. So I'm not concerned because the Dodgers are not playing 100% baseball, clean baseball right now, and they're still 11-7. So imagine if and when, not if, when this team really starts to get it going. The bottom of this order is really scaring me. James Allen's not off to a good start. Gavin Lux is not off to a
Gavin
good
Lux.
start. Chris Taylor is unplayable right now. I think he struck out again like Saturday night. So it's not bottom order is the issue right now. But again, it's still 11-7, and they're still in first place.
Yeah, I will say it. I was a little underwhelmed by the Dodgers' start to the year. Sort of, maybe it feels like they should be
18 and
have
0.
another. Well, not 18-0, but 16-2, 15-3.
That's a little
Hey,
much.
okay, okay. It is
I was
baseball,
thinking
so yeah,
like
you're
13
gonna
and 5.
13-5, 14-4.
That's not too
I
much
like
to
that
ask
number.
for.
Okay, all right, Kyle. Yeah. Of course, referring to his Yankees there, off to a hot start too, which we covered already, so we don't have to give the Yankees too much
I
shine.
have,
But
of course we do. We got to give him something. Come on now.
well, maybe. But do you think this really feeds into the whole rivalry narrative, Melo? Like to the point that it's boiling over?
Again, I don't think it's a rivalry. Padre fans and the Padre players might feel like that, but I don't get that sense from Dodger fans, and I don't get that sense in the dugout. I really don't. Now, am I in the dugout? No, obviously not. I don't know what these guys are saying behind, closed doors in the clubhouse and stuff, but um, it's just another game. You know,
Wow.
that's the way I see it. That's the way I see it. I know, and it's hard. I know it's hard to think that because they beat us in a playoff series 2 years ago. We had their number in the regular season, and Padres play their best ball when the Dodgers are on the schedule. But
Yeah.
again, it's like I don't get that sense from Mookie Betts. I don't get that sense from Dave Roberts. Now, Will Smith maybe change that thought a little bit because he had some choice words for Jerks and Profar the other night. But I get it, but it's just I mean Jerks and Profar admitted on the broadcast last night that he was kind of a little disappointed in himself that it got kind of bowled over there. But at the end of the day, it's the second week in April. I'm not gonna overreact. And Padres were the better team this weekend.
See, I mean,
Since 2020, Dodgers are 43-23 against the Padres, according to StatMuse. So
Doesn't sound like a rivalry to me.
there you go. Sorry, Kyle, cut you off there.
no, you're good. What I was gonna say is like, I mean, maybe because the Dodgers have had their number, but as an outsider looking in and watching this series that just unfolded kind of in front of me, it felt like it, man. It really did. Like I was getting that kind of energy, especially over here on the East Coast, staying up this late and kind of watching some of these games play out. I mean, the energy was there. I thought it was a really, I don't know, it was like a heated game to me, and especially with Profar and Smith. I mean, them two guys were kind of going at it a little bit there, and and obviously you're gonna get that sense no matter what when you're playing a division rival. I mean, that's just how it is. That's how I get the same feeling when the Yankees play, Baltimore, any of these other squads in our division. But no, I mean, I want this to be a rivalry. I mean, maybe I'm the odd man out here, but I really want it to be. I mean, same state, kind of just going back and forth with each other. I want to see it. I want to see more of this energy get unfolded in these games, and and I want Betts to play into it because trust me, I've seen what Betts can do on the other end, and he can make a whole lot of Padres fans very pissy. I can promise you that.
And he has. He's almost hitting against the Padres since he's been a Dodger. I think he's hitting close to 360. And in terms of the rivalry thing, you need two to tango. If you're not getting it from the Dodgers dugout, then it's not a rivalry. And I really think that's if the Dodger players don't consider it a rivalry, then I don't. In the stands,
Fair
it's
enough.
different, but
Hmm.
that's for other reasons. But I don't think it's a rivalry. It's a good
Yeah.
matchup. It's fun to watch. It's entertaining, but I don't think it's just. I just don't see it.
Now, Kyle, um, if your catcher calls out a bottom of the lineup type guy for your division rival, how are you feeling about that? Are you liking that energy, or are you saying, okay, let's cool the jets here a little bit on trash talking guys?
Depends on who it is. If it's Boston, yeah, go ahead. But no, I'm
Okay,
okay. Here, I'll kind of make it the same kind of like circumstance that happened with the Dodgers. So, like, I don't know if Trevi or Austin Wells calls out a guy bottom of the lineup from, I don't know, the Rays. Let's say that, because that's not really a rivalry in my book. Um, but I mean, in this case, would I stand behind Trevi or Wells for saying that? Yeah, of course I am, because that's my guy. But at the end of the day, I don't know. It kind of could be a little died down. I don't know if Smith was out of context, because I don't know what happened in that batter box. No one really does. We don't know the full context. So I don't know if Profar was really starting that. Then yeah, fair game. That's the way I look at it.
that's true. You never really know the other side of the story in terms of what was being said in that batter's box specifically.
Yeah.
But still, chirping another major league player. I mean, in Profar, sure, he didn't pan out to be the superstar he was touted to be, coming up with the Rangers, but still has had a solid MLB career. I mean, he's just got 10 years of service time in Major League Baseball, which is a huge accomplishment, recognized by lots of big league players. And you have respect for other guys who can last that long in the league. So just take a shot at another big league player is not. I don't know if it's something I really want one of my players doing like that in that uh, aspect. I get his point though, saying, well, we weren't trying to throw at him because he's not a guy that we were going to target on our team or on their team to throw at. Makes sense. Yeah, you're probably throwing at Machado or Tatis, but you
And
know,
Gavin Stone had a perfect game going at the time.
yes,
Yeah.
yes, and yeah. If you didn't know, Profar pulled up to bunt, and Dodgers didn't take that too kindly.
I don't
But
blame him.
You
Then yeah,
don't do that.
on his mouth. That's the way I look at it. I mean, if you're gonna try to break up a perfect game with a bunt single, whatever it is, I mean, listen, man, you're asking for trouble. That's just how it is. So yeah, I mean, I totally get Will Smith. He's backing up his pitcher. That's I like that energy. That's how it should be.
I think there's maybe slightly better wording to use there. Like, nah, he's irrelevant. Maybe just, of
Yes.
course, we're not trying to hit him. We're not trying to hit anybody. Um, but at the same time, having your pitchers back, whether you were calling for him to just go high and in on him or to, actually try and plunk him in the leg. But even if he has a perfect game going, you're not going to try and hit the batter too, because that takes away your perfect game right there. So it just seems there was some maybe misunderstanding, and yeah, the pulling up to bunt with a perfect game on the line. Nobody's a fan of that. So, Melo, any last words on the situation?
Nothing on that. I just want to use my West Coast bias for the last 2 minutes that I have here. It was fucking miserable here at Dodger Stadium Saturday and Sunday. We got 2 straight days of rain delays. What the hell is going on? Saturday there was like a 2.5 hour rain delay, and yesterday there was a half-hour rain delay. That's not California weather. I'm gonna flip the camera around real quick. Oh well, I guess I can't now. But anyways, it's perfectly sunny outside as it should be. Still a little cold, but oh well. What are you gonna do? Summer's coming.
A little cold.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry. I'm not used to that. I'm glad I don't have to look at a bright white tarp anymore. It was depressing seeing the rain fall down and wondering if the game was gonna start on time.
Hey,
That's all.
welcome to the East Coast, right there, Melo. Uh,
It blew my head
Phillies
off
didn't
a
play
long time
opening
ago.
day because of it, so love it. But all right,
That's why I have my West Coast card, and I used it right now and I'm glad I got it off my chest.
That's right. So the Dodgers are cracking the whip, looking at the clock, tapping their wrist, trying to tell Melo it's time to get back to work. So
You know that
um,
thing in the cartoon with the hook? That's what they're about to do right now.
that's right. They're pulling him right back to work. So we appreciate Melo stopping by, getting that's his dedication right there, coming to us live from work. We appreciate
Yes.
it. And we'll talk to you next week, Melo.
See ya.
See ya. All right, moving on now. Without Melo, we're jumping to Spencer Strider, and of course, him being out now for the remainder of the season with UCL injury. Is going to need Tommy John surgery to repair that, and it's gotten to a point where, listen, opening day could even be in question for him next year. You never know. Just these surgeries, some of them have gotten faster, but some of the guys still need a year, possibly a little more, to recover from this. But terrible news for the Braves, and I'm not the type of guy to ever wish injuries on a player, team, anybody, because I'd really hate somebody if they did the same to me and to any of my stars. So it sucks to see. He's a dominant pitcher. He's fun to watch. Adds a little flair to the game. So I love to see that from any player, even if it's from one of my main rivals. It sucks to see. It's a big blow to the Braves. But at this point, their offense doesn't really care because their offense is so good this year that so far, team as a whole is hitting over 300. It doesn't matter to them that if their pitching is going to be or elite. So it sucks to see, but at the same time, I'm thinking the Braves are just going to keep rolling for the most part. Maybe it cracks the door half an inch for the Phillies or something to stick their toe in and sneak into first place in the division. But at this point, I'm still feeling confident in picking the Braves to win the NL East.
Yeah, no, for sure. Me too. And I think that just tells you it's kind of a testament to how good this team really is. They've been this kind of team for the last few seasons. I also think they have the depth to kind of like, I mean, they're never going to replace Spencer Strider. They're not going to. But the depth that they have and the way this offense is going, just like you said, I don't think it's really much to worry about, which is crazy to say, especially when Spencer Strider's out for the year. But I think the way that this offense is rolling, everything's clicking, man. I mean, the Phillies are a very good team, so you never know what's going to happen. And I'm also wondering, too, like, I wonder if this cracks the door for a potential trade candidate and see what they do at the trade deadline to kind of reassess, if they're not getting the kind of production that they want out of their starting pitching staff, who knows? Maybe they do go and get one of these other big guys who aren't on the IL. But
Yeah.
I mean, you never know, man. But no, if I had to take my swing at it, I really don't think that this is gonna affect them too much. I really don't.
Speaking of depth for the Braves here, just what their current rotation is probably going to be looking like. Max Fried, Chris Sale, two nasty lefties at the top of that rotation.
Yeah.
Old Charlie Morton still at the grindstone.
Okay.
They called up a guy, Darius Vines, making his season debut this year, and Reynaldo Lopez closing out the rotation, who just had a very nice start the other day. Plus, I guarantee you they have somebody sitting in AA, AAA that they could call up and, like you said, or trade for somebody. The Braves have shown their front office, Alex Anthopoulos, has shown that he's not afraid to do something like that. They'll take a risk on a guy. They took a risk on a Jorge Soler having a not fantastic season for the Royals, and turns out, he sort of helped them win a World Series that year. Jock Peterson, same thing. Traded for him, big impact for them in that postseason. So there's no doubt in my mind that the Braves will consider it if they feel like they need it. And we'll see what the rotation looks like. Chris Sale had a bit of a blow-up start the other day. Max Fried, I would say, has not been vintage Max Fried, but granted, he's coming off an injury. He's probably only 2 or 3 starts in at this point. Plenty of time to turn the season around. And Charlie Morton, you're going to come to expect, probably a high 3 to 4 ERA. But if you can get that consistently, he's going to mix in some good starts. And that's a guy that you feel good with being a 3 or 4 in your rotation. So, yeah, it would not surprise me if they trade for somebody later in the season. But again, some of those names are disappeared now because Corbin Burns, obviously, off. Dylan Cease out to the San Diego Padres.
Yep.
And I'm trying to think a couple of these other names that we were always rumoring. Shane Bieber was rumored there, and now obviously he's injured, which sucks.
Yep.
But there's going to be somebody that the Braves are going to be sniffing around at trying to pry from a team here. So
yeah, and there was one other thing that I want to put in here is if we look at the recent trade history of the Atlanta Braves, they've given up multiple top prospects that have not panned out. So I really don't I do not think that they are going to be latching on to they're not going to be prospect hugging. They're not. They're not afraid to give away their top prospects. I think this was almost 2 years ago now, when they traded Pache to the A's. I thought that was a little steep. Looking back at it, it's probably one of the best trades that we've seen in recent history. Pache is now with your Phillies, so it's they're really not going to be prospect hugging, I don't think, and they're not going to be afraid to pull the trigger on these trades, and that's what scares me about the Braves a lot. They're not afraid to do this. So no, that's something I could definitely see happening in the near future.
Yeah. Braves are still a scary team, no matter what. Moving on then. We want to hit the last, more serious baseball topic before heading into a couple of the not lighter topics, but not exactly 100%, strictly baseball related. So the AL West here, they've been off to a tough start, and this is a division that we were saying could be one of the best in baseball, seeing as you could sort of pencil in 3 teams that you thought would be playoff contenders. One who won the World Series last year, and the second who is in their 7th straight ALCS. And then the Mariners, people were trying to say that they're going to take another big step this year. The Angels, what could they do for you? Well, they're all currently sitting at 500 or worse, with the division looking like Rangers at 8-8, Angels 7-8, A's 7-9, Mariners 6-10, and Astros 6-11. Now, the story is a little different for each team so far. Astros has been injuries, and it's been a lot, and it's been tough for their pitching staff. They're getting Justin Verlander back sometime. I think he's set to make his debut this week. If not, it's going to be very soon here. The Mariners, it's just been bad offense. Julio Rodriguez, you need to put out the Amber Alert for him because he has disappeared currently. You cannot find him anywhere. He's not swinging a hot bat to start the season. And the pitching rotation, which was vaunted, top 3 probably in baseball, people projecting going into the year. Yep. I think we even had them as our top 3, maybe top 1 I might have had going into this year, and they've looked bad. Luis Castillo, George Kirby, and even Logan Gilbert all have not looked fantastic. Now, Bryce Miller, he's had strung together a couple nice starts here. But still, the guys that you were counting on have not been showing up in any way for the Mariners here. Now the Rangers, they just kind of got off to a slow start, and they're missing some of their guys in the rotation. We know that, but still, Josh Young too, an injury, tough injury there for them. But I think could be a bit of a World Series hangover.
Yeah,
it's not uncommon.
Sure. No, it's not. I mean, and even the Angels, man. The Angels are kind of producing here. They're kind of Anthony Rendon. Look at you, man.
Yeah, last week.
Just when we thought we could write you off completely, you give us a little bit of hope. Mike Trout's doing his thing again, man. That's cool to see.
Nothing new. The A's actually producing. They're not a total pushover to start the season. I'm not saying they're not going to be there by the end of the year. By June, they could easily be at that point. But there are exciting names to watch on this team. Shea Langeliers, 3 home run day. I think him and Harper are the only ones to have 3 home run games so far this season. Um, Lawrence Butler, I know I mentioned him before the season, but he's an exciting player to watch. Even though they sent down Esteury Ruiz,
He's back
still
today.
exciting. Yeah. Oh, there we go. He's back today.
Yep.
Perfect. And in the pitching rotation, some unexpected names. We had JP Sears, and Kyle knows all about him.
Yeah.
Yankees legend right there. But another guy, blanking on his name, and Joe Boyle
That's it.
had
Yeah.
he had a couple of nice starts there,
Good.
and I was like, okay, Joe Boyle. I was not looking for that. I was insert the Charles Barkley or the Shaq meme. I'm not familiar with your game. Now, okay, granted, he's got a 5 ERA, but his last start was pretty nice there. I'm pretty sure he had 2 nice starts. If I could find it here, yeah, show appearances. Oh, that's not what I wanted, but that's okay. Anyway, Paul Blackburn, a nice start, or 3 nice starts. He hasn't given up a run in 3 starts so far. 19 innings, only given up 11 hits, no runs at all. Nice little start to the season for him there.
Very nice.
Mason Miller, their closer,
Mm-hmm.
who he sort of respected, touted. They're sort of hyping him up to start the season. Off to a good start. And the A's, they're not a total pushover. They just took a series from the Rangers. So
Crazy.
can't pencil the A's in as a easy win anymore.
No, and okay, so we're starting with the A's here. I will say that I think it's a little bit of overperformance, but I'm not going to take anything away from
Yes.
them. I'm not, because like you said, this team has some very young, exciting pieces. And the biggest issue with me is the fact that they weren't playing the ones who should be playing. There is no reason at all why, if you have JD Davis on your team, why he should be starting over an Esteury Ruiz or one of these other highly touted prospects. You have nothing to lose. You are already the laughing stock of the league. See what these guys can give you.
Exactly.
And that's what pissed me off so bad about sending Ruiz down. Doesn't make any sense. But they do have some young, exciting pieces. I don't expect them to keep this up at all. But it's cool to see, man. It really is. Because I didn't expect this at all. And the A's their offense is kind of producing, man. A lot of these times I've been seeing where the A's pitchers are getting them in a little bit of trouble. And, the guys like Lawrence Butler, guys like Ruiz, all Shea Langeliers, all these guys are kind of producing and bringing them back into ball games, and it's cool to see.
Yeah, I mean, yes. Granted, none of these numbers are fantastic for the whole season, but when players can actually have a game every once in a while, like no offense to the A's, but when players are having a game every once in a while, it can lead to some more unexpected wins, so to say. And the other way to look at it is, well, some of these losses that these teams have to the A's, when you look back at the end of the year, it's going to be, how did we lose 2 out of 3 to the A's in April?
Yep.
And now that's the reason we're missing the playoffs, is because we
Exactly.
lost this series early on to the A's. And could be the Rangers. They could be the ones doing it. They like I said, they just lost that series to Oakland. Now the last thing we wanted to talk about was the Angels here, and you mentioned it briefly, but Rendon off to a nice little start. Well, not a nice little start, but now that in the last week or so, he's got on a bit of a roll, a little bit. They got pitchers who are doing their thing too.
Reed Detmers looks great, man. He looks
Reed
good.
Detmers and Tyler Anderson.
Yes.
After a bit of a mockery of a season last year where we all said, yep, that was the Angels thing to do, sign him to a big contract after having a great year for the Dodgers. He had a 5.43 ERA last year. That's tough. He's off to a nice start this year, 1.47 Reed Detmers following up with a 104.
Yep.
Great start across 3 games, 17 and 18 innings each for them. Just the Angels are not an absolute joke of a team. It's not like you took Shohei away and that's not a good team still. There are pieces to like, and we talked about this going into the season. There are pieces to like on this team, whether it is Ohapi, and all these pieces complement Trout, obviously.
Yeah.
But Ohapi, Taylor Ward, and even Mickey Moniak last year had a decent start to the season. This year, getting there. But still, these guys, if they can rally around Trout, help Trout out a little bit, this Angels team is not bad.
No, 100%. And a big thing for the Angels here is it's very easy to dog on them because it's mostly off the field shit that gets them these kind of looks. Artie Moreno does no favors in that, but obviously Rendon having his off the field issues and things like that. But they have tried. And this is the one thing that I have been begging these smaller market teams to kind of like buy into a little bit is just don't be afraid to spend money. All right, look at the Kansas City Royals. They finally spent a little bit of money and they're looking pretty decent this year. So my whole thing is just keep playing the way you do. You obviously compliment Mike Trout. You don't have Ohtani anymore. That's long gone, whatever. But if Rendon can kind of come back to any kind of Nationals Rendon, I think that's a win. I really do, and I don't think this Angels team is a pushover. Their pitching staff is shaping up to be an okay one. If they can get back WBC Patrick Sandoval, I think that's going to be a huge part. Bullpen, I've liked what they've done in the bullpen all over the offseason. I touched on that a few times. I think their bullpen can be serviceable. So, yeah, I think it's just the offense, man. They just got to keep going and kind of just compliment Mike Trout along the way because they do have pieces to like for sure.
Exactly. So, Angels, pressure's off a little bit. Shohei Ohtani's gone. Nobody's super expecting you to win anymore. It's not like there was the expectation of, well, Mike Trout, Shohei Ohtani, figure it out, Angels. Now it's just, we're back to just Mike Trout, and you didn't make the playoffs for a long time with just him, so it's okay. But go ahead, keep sleeping on the Angels. I sneaky like them this year. Fun team to watch. They have some fun names who have all at times clicked throughout their lineup. I mean, just going up and down their lineup, all of these guys have clicked at one point. Logan Ohapi, right now. Nolan Shanuel, just the beginning of the season and the end of last year, he was on like a 30-game on-base streak to start his career.
Yep.
Brandon Drury, not off to a great start, and same with Zach Neto. But there were points last year where they both looked very nice. Rendon, you're starting to find your tracks again, hopefully. Getting some traction, keep building off of it. Taylor Ward, we saw what he did, what was that, last year or 2 years ago when he went on that Insano run. He was the best player in Major League Baseball for a month. Mickey Moniak, and we've seen it in his Angels days, not in his Phillies days, but last year with the Angels.
It's health.
If he can stay healthy.
Yeah.
Yeah. And currently they have Miguel Sano as the DH. So switching off with some of the other guys off the bench there. But
2019 Twins, we know he can do it. Yeah, it's in there somewhere.
Ironically enough, he doesn't have a homer yet this season. So, and of course, I didn't mention Mike Trout, but we all know what Mike Trout is capable of. Yeah. I think this is all traced back to Aaron Hicks, though. He's the difference maker in this team, don't you think?
Maybe.
Listen,
right. If he can get back to his Twins and early Yankee days, maybe. but that's a far cry from what he is now. But the pressure's off of him because he doesn't have the Angels paying that big ass salary like how he did in New York.
Yeah, yeah. Or Orioles Aaron Hicks versus the Yankees.
Yeah,
Wasn't that a thing there for a series or two? Right.
yeah, it was their first series. He was, I think, he hit 2 home runs against us in a 3 game series. I mean, he played decent for the O's, but
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah, he's a bench piece for them. Okay. Like I said, that's the main hard hitting baseball stuff. We got two things, sort of not shout outs, but got to give props to where they're due. Start with Andrew McCutchen, 300 career home runs for him. Quite the interesting career, I'll say that, because he's past his superstar days in Pittsburgh, and just to be fair, it was not a long peak in Pittsburgh.
No.
There was a 3 or 4 year stretch, something like that. I'm going to pull that up real quick, his baseball reference. But he's gotten to the point where he's a nice role player, a great veteran. 48 and a half career WAR is nothing to sneeze at, but that, yeah, 2011 to 2015 run is pretty much it right there for the Pirates. Yankees legend, Andrew McCutchen right there. But still, a nice, very nice MLB career, and 300 home runs is a great milestone you can hang your hat on any day for any player. Incredibly happy for him. How many of those came as a Philly? 47, and that's the second most of all of his franchises. So, Uncle Larry is a Philly at heart. Iconic picture there for him. That's where he got that nickname. So, I'll remember him as a Pirate and then a Philly. But Andrew McCutchen, props to you, 300 career home runs.
Yeah, I was just gonna ask you how many of those homers came with New York, but I don't even want to know the answer. So
That's a good trivia here. Over under. I can't say 5 because it's exactly 5. 5 home runs with the Yankees.
there we go. The other 295, whatever. But
Now
no,
that was in 25 games though.
that is
That's not
true.
too bad.
Listen, I do remember that little stint there where Andrew McCutchen was, we were talking. We're like, oh, maybe we'll resign him, whatever. No, so my whole thing with Andrew McCutchen is that I think it sucks that he left Pittsburgh, right? He was a legend there. I hated that he left Pittsburgh. Obviously, he had his good times elsewhere, especially I think Philly would probably be the next notable, where he spent the most time. But no, Andrew McCutchen, when you talk about him, there's nothing but good things to say. He's such a cool guy, man. Yeah, I've always loved watching him play. Obviously, Pittsburgh days are the best. That was like my peak baseball, man. Andrew McCutchen was, if not the best player in baseball. So for me as a kid growing up, watching him play, I loved it. Absolutely, That's why I was so happy that we got him in the Yankees. But no, there's nothing but good things to say about him. I love him. He's a legend of the game, especially when it comes to Pittsburgh. Cool to see him. I don't know how many days he has left in the league. Sucks to say, but I think that's stat that you gave us with WAR. I think that really just goes to show his dominance in the league for those 4 or 5 years, racking up those stats. Crazy, man. Very cool to see. So I'm very happy for him.
Yeah, exactly. And Hall of Fame is questionable for him.
It's very questionable.
It's not out of the realm of possibilities, but I would not say it's incredibly likely as
No.
well. You mentioned the WAR numbers there.
Mm-hmm.
That little stretch, 5.4, 6.9, 7.8, 6.4, and 5 even WAR. And he hasn't come close to touching that. And
No.
other than that little 5-year stretch there. So that's really, it's what carried him throughout his whole career pretty much, and having borderline MVP numbers, and of course getting that one MVP that one year, 2012. Yeah, no, 2013. 2013.
Yeah.
Um, nothing but love for Kutch.
One
Even if
hundred
he wouldn't
percent.
have ever been a Philly, just nothing but love and respect for Andrew McCutchen. So, another guy you got nothing but love and respect for. Might pull at the heartstrings a little bit here for you
It
because
does. It really does.
that's sort of like a lot of core memories there for you with John Sterling on the call.
Yes. Lots and lots and lots of core memories. I mean, just growing up, man. It was always John Sterling. I mean, he's been calling games since I believe it's '89. For the Yankees, he's been with them for over 30 years, pushing 40. Um, I really don't know how to explain John Sterling. He's just that guy, man. Grew up with him. He's nothing but respected. He is one of the nicest guys you'll ever meet. He has respect for everybody. He loves the game of baseball. You can't really ask for too much more. And his calls are just iconic, man. I can't even tell you my favorite one. I love them all. We all knew this day was coming. I mean, he's going to be 86, dude. In July, he's going to be
Yeah,
86. This I really didn't imagine, and I just didn't imagine him to be on the call much longer. In like the last 3 or 4 years, that's when things have kind of been going, not like downhill. He's good health wise from what I've read so far, but the traveling, it was getting a lot for him, which
absolutely.
understandable. I mean, a man in his 80s, dude. I mean, there's times when we're traveling and we're doing our thing, and I'm gonna be 24 in 2 months, and this shit can take a toll on me. Imagine what it does to an 85-year-old man, who's been doing this
Yeah,
for going on 60 years. I mean, absolutely nothing but love and respect for John Sterling. Um, it sucks, man. It really, really sucks. And when the news dropped today, my heart dropped. I shed a tear, man. I really did, because this guy on the call, there's there's not many who are better than him. And maybe it's just a little bit of Yankee bias in me. I don't know, but I grew up with the guy. I absolutely love him. Nothing but respect, and I hope him the best, man. I really do. I'm really excited because the Yankees are going to give him kind of like a send off, a goodbye. He's going to have I believe it's on Saturday. He's going to have a whole press conference in Yankee Stadium. And then he's going to be in the WFAN booth one last time. So
okay.
it's gonna suck, man. Right now, I'm kind of just taking it in, kind of accepting the fact that I'm not going to hear his voice anymore. But it's never going to be the same without him. Susan Waldman said that today. It'll never be the same. One kind of like comparison that I can give it to for the older generation, it's kind of like Phil Rizzuto. I don't think he's up there with Vin Scully. Vin Scully's he's the GOAT when it comes to broadcasting, but he's John Sterling's no pushover, man. I love him. Like I said, nothing but love and respect for the man. Uh, Childhood memories, man, and I'll always have them. It really sucks. That's all I really have to say on it.
Yeah. Obviously, my childhood's a little different, not consisting of a bunch of listening to the radio call for a bunch of Yankees games, so I can't exactly relate in that fashion. But obviously, yeah, as a baseball fan, I've heard my fair share of John Sterling calls. Um, and some of them in the last year were home run calls on flyouts to left field. But
Oh, why'd you have to bring it up? Come on, man.
but it makes me laugh, and I'm not gonna knock a guy for that because it gave me a laugh and respect to where respect is due, and John Sterling right there, do all of it. Um, Great guy from all accounts of what I've heard, and just a legend in the radio broadcast area and in the announcer, that whole aura of
Yeah,
calling baseball games is he's up there. Like maybe not Mount Rushmore area of like all time announcers, but still a very well respected and well known one for that fact. when you can just rattle off the Yankees radio broadcast guy without thinking about it,
Yeah.
that means something. Okay, it doesn't mean nothing, because if you ask me who the Milwaukee Brewers radio guy is, I'm gonna say, boy, I can't even tell you. So there's just something to it when you know that name, and that name signifies, yeah, Yankees, and that voice even too.
Yeah, it's the
You know
voice.
exactly who it is right away. So iconic broadcaster in the game. Respect to him. It'll be different. I mean, not that I'm, like I said, not that I'm tuning into a bunch of Yankees games, and if I am, I'm probably trying to watch them, not listen to them. But still, I hear the calls every now and then. It's going to be a little different not hearing it. So, like I said, respect to him, and yeah, enjoy his retirement. Happy
Yes.
retirement. Um,
I do have one last thing here. So number one, Yankees do the right thing and put his ass out in Monument Park on Saturday.
ooh,
Let him enjoy that, because he, like I said, he is getting up in age. As far as I'm concerned, health is totally fine. It's just a fact of it's time for him. That's what the reports have been saying. Let him enjoy, because the Yankees have done that where they give these players the plaques and then they have passed and they can't really enjoy it. Let him enjoy this. Get his ass out in Monument Park. I don't care. Do it Saturday. And second, the WFAN broadcast is still having Susan Waldman, as far as I'm concerned, and I do believe Justin Shackle is taking over, as far as it should go. So I do think we're in good hands. He's a young and upcoming broadcaster. He's been on WFAN for quite a few years now, so I'm excited to hear him too. So it's a bittersweet day, but nothing but the best for John Sterling.
there we go. I think that's pretty much everything for this episode. So we're going to cap it off right there. Appreciate you guys watching, listening, and supporting all of our content, whatever it is. And we'll see you again next week for another episode. See ya.